Hello everyone, this is Jeff again. Welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the transaxle fluid. We're going to service or drain it and then service it on the 2012 lp550 over here. So what we end up doing is we end up going with the Redline here, MTLV, which it calls out for a 70W-75 spec GL4. So that's what we have here. The instructions say if the thing's never been filled, if you're doing a new gearbox, it's going to take 4.75 liters, but obviously we're not. We're going to do the second here. It's going to take about 4 liters. So that's how much we expect to put in. I mean, it's going to vary from that a little bit. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and looks like we're going to have to remove the air box and then take the under tray off and to drain the oil and get access to everything. So we're going to go ahead and start that over here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to have to remove this air box to get to the fill port. So we're going to have to take these panels off here. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Like I said, to remove the air box. All right, so now that we've got this piece here off, we're going to go ahead and take all these screws out here, which there are Torx.
Are all the size?
What size is it?
T25.
T25. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. All right, so we've got the top of the airbox off. Now we'll have to remove, I think there's 4 screws. One right here on this bracket. One over here, same bracket on this side, and then there's one hidden down on the side here. And then there's same over here, hidden on the side. And then we'll have to remove these boots here. These should come out also when this box gets loose. So we're going to go ahead and take those 4 screws out. All right, so we had to take the side panels off on both sides. Like I said, the air box, I had the 4 screws. I had one here, here, 2 on the other side. And then you have to fight these little boots here on the side here. They just kind of fit on there, they're friction. So that should come straight out. And then, as you see, right here is your fill port, right there. So that's your fill port. Let me get a screwdriver. All right, so I'm pointing with the screwdriver right there. That is your fill port. And they recommend changing the seal on that too every time. So anyway, we're going to break that loose, and then we'll raise the car and take the underbelly pans off. So we've got the plug removed. This is a 22mm socket. We had to use a lot of extensions. It was torqued up pretty good. So as you can see, the plug's removed down there. We came up behind this structure here with the extension. So anyway, that's what we had to do to get that out of there. So now we're going to raise the car and take the bottom half off. So now that we've got the car raised, we're going to take this tray off here and get access to the drain plug. And I believe there's a filter on the side too. We're going to get access to that also. So we're going to go ahead and take those screws out. Remember, there's different lengths in some of these. Like the center one here is different, and I believe the one in the back here is different. They're longer, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and take those out. All right, so we've got the under tray off. Remember, there's a couple screws when you're taking the under tray off. There's one on the side back here, and then there's one on the back. So don't forget those when you're pulling it off. This is a 14 Allen. So we're going to take that out to drain it. And then I believe the screen is right here. Looks like that might be a 10.
That's an
8.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull that out once we drain it. Check it out. Make sure there's nothing in it. But we're going to go ahead and take this off right now and let it drain. And we'll go on from there.
Need all of it there.
All right. So we've got the plug out here. It has a magnet on it. It has a little fuzz on it. I'm not too concerned. There's nothing really big, and there's not a lot of it. I mean, it's just got a little bit around the edges. That's pretty much normal. You're going to have some
you know, some similar to that, that's pretty normal. As long as it's like not built up across here and it has a lot, then I'd be concerned, but this is pretty normal. So if you got any questions about that, I wouldn't, you know, be worried about that at all. So we're letting it drain right now, and we'll clean that off before we insert it. Put a new crush washer on there before you do that. They recommend that. And then I'll look up the torque so we can find what the torque is on that.
We'll look at the screen too.
Yeah, and we're going to pull the screen out yet too and look at it. All right, so we've removed this screen. Like I said, one screw. Just be careful on those. When you try to reply right here, you'll crack it. So be careful with this. Recommend to change the O-ring if you got one. We do have a little bit of material there, but it's not a lot. Like I said before, you're going to have some in there unless it's been changed recently. I don't know the history of this car. I mean, the car is 11 years old. I don't know if it's ever been changed because I don't have any service records of it. So we're gonna do it like it never been changed. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up. I'm probably gonna take like some brake clean or something like that to
back flush it.
Back flush that. So we're gonna go ahead and clean that up. Like I said, I wouldn't be concerned about that. Now, if you had a bunch of material on all the sides and you couldn't see the screen, I'd be concerned. So anyway, we're gonna proceed on. So we've used some like brake cleaner on it and some compressed air. We cleaned it up as most as possible. I mean, it's pretty clean. Don't forget your little screen on the end here also. And put a little lube on your O-ring before you reinstall it. And then, like I said, be careful. Don't side load this little ear here. You'll break it off. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall this back in the car. And we're going to continue to let it drain. We've got our screen reinstalled, our screw tightened up. Like I said, you don't want to go too crazy with this and crack this. So I'll see if I can find a torque on that. But yeah, when you go to tighten that, just don't go too crazy. So that's reinstalled. Like I said, we're going to continue to let this drain for a little while, and we'll come back to it and reinstall that plug, get a torque spec for you, and then service it from the top. All right? So we've reinstalled our plug here with the magnet, and that was 36 foot-pounds, or what was it?
49 Newton meters.
49 Newton meters?
Yes.
Okay, or 36 foot-pounds. Okay.
36.1, yeah.
So they say to put a new gasket on there, so put a new gasket. And then we also took the fill, or this is not the fill port, but this is where you check your level. So we've loosened this up. I believe that was a 22.
It's a 22 millimeters.
This is a 22. So this is loose. This is where you're going to check your level, but we're going to fill it from the top. So we're going to do that. We're going to lower the car, and then this little screw here was 10 Newton meters, or 88 inch pounds. Okay. So like I said, we're going to lower it and service it up, and we're going to pull this plug out of here right now.
And we'll leave our drip tray down there. Whoop.
And I got some all over. All right, we'll continue on. All right, so we've got our funnel in place here, and like I said, we're going to fill it up until we see oil come out of that side cap on the bottom. It should take like 3.75 liters of oil because it's been previously serviced, 4 if it's never been serviced. So we're going to go ahead and start filling that up. Like I said, we've got the Redline over here that we purchased. It calls out, like I said earlier, 70W-75, and this is what we're going to use to service it. It's a GL4. All right? I'm sorry, I made that mistake earlier. If it's the first fill, it's 4.75 liters. If it's second fill and anything after that, it's 4 liters. So that's the quantity that you're going to have. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and service it and continue on. All right, so we've serviced it. He's putting the plug in right now as we speak. So the quantity it took this whole bottle, which is 3.785 liters or 1 gallon, and then we opened this container here, which is another quart, and it took maybe I mean, not very much of it. Just barely put any in it, and it started running out. So anyway, if you're going to do this and you buy the Redline oil, that's how much oil you're going to end up using. It's not very much at all. Just the gallon plus the quart, and you should be good. Like I said, we're going to torque these plugs up to 36 foot-pounds or 49 newton meters. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, and then we're going to put the tray back on and then finish this up. All right, so we've had our inspection plug installed, torqued. There it is. We have the drain plug installed, torqued, and then we have the screen installed, torqued. So we're ready to put the tray back on and then lower the car, and then we'll put the fill port on the top back in, and then reassemble the plenum and everything for the intake. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, so we have the tray reinstalled. Like I said, don't forget your screws on the side and on the back over here. Other than that, everything's torqued up, secure. So we're going to lower the car and install the plenum up top for the air filters and that. So we're going to do that. We have our fill port plug installed, torqued up, and then now we're going to go ahead and install the lower plenum here. And then, like I said, you'll have to make sure that these are in place. Over here, this one here fell out, so we're going to put that in there. And it kind of all goes in the same time with your lower plenum. So we're going to go ahead and... All right.
Just to make sure that they don't lose it. That little thing.
Oh, yeah, and then this thing here is like a little cover.
It's like a one-way drain.
It fell off on us, so yours may be laying down there. So we made sure that was back on there. It's like a drain of some sort, but it's like lets air flow one way and restricts it the other.
Yeah, fluid.
So you might want to check that. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall that. All right, so we put our lower plenum in. Make sure you have your ducts on the side lined up on both sides. Make sure that your air filters are in the right slot here. Front and aft, there's a slot here. Everything lines up. So we're going to go ahead and re-secure with the 4 bolts on the sides. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then we'll put the top of the plenum on and then put the shielding all back together. So we've got the top of the plenum back on, all the bolts around the sides here installed, torqued up. Make sure your brackets are aligned correctly. There is a left and a right here. Make sure you have this your gas cap release. Make sure it's in the notch here. So all that stuff's in there, torqued up. We're ready to put on all the side panels and finish this up. All right, so we have all the panels back on. So at this point, we should be finished with the servicing of the transaxle on the lp550.
Dash 2.
Do what?
Dash 2.
Dash 2, that's correct. So yeah, that completes the servicing of the transaxle on the lp550. We've got everything reinstalled, the panels back on. So really all we need to do now is take it for a spin, but I believe it's going to be all right. So next time, catch us in a few.